Hey, this is Pete. Thanks for checking out my channel and my weekly blues guitar tutorial. I just finished playing an example in the style of Chuck Berry, and I thought I'd talk about his great rhythm guitar style. One of the pioneers of rock and roll guitar, but also was really closely aligned to blues. In fact, when he was signed to the Chess label out of Chicago, he had a great blues band backing him up. Willie Dixon on bass, Fred Below on drums, and Johnny Johnson playing the piano. So we'll get started with the tutorial. Remember that you can subscribe to my channel for these weekly lessons. My example is in the key of A major, and it's just a 12-bar blues progression. 3 chords, an A, a D, and an E, and just playing these double stops, or what are commonly called power chords. So here's the A, and here's the D, and then there's the E. Pretty basic and pretty standard. For my 5, or a resolution to the 5 at the end of the 12-bar progression, I'm playing this E7 chord. All right, so pretty straight ahead chords. What I want to focus on mostly is his groove and his accenting in his rhythm that you hear from a lot of his hits from the mid-50s until the mid-60s especially. All right, the classic Chuck Berry intro. I'm just doing a composite. He had many ways of playing that and used that intro on a lot of his classic songs. In my example, I'm playing off of that one chord, which is an A major, and playing triplets on this double stop at the top of the A chord. Yeah, and then on my way down, I'm playing more double stops. All right, so that's the transition. All right, so the phrasing on that transition takes a bit of work. Of course, practicing that slowly will help things along. All right, so that takes us right into the one, and we start with that Chuck Berry rhythm. Now, when I first played Chuck Berry, and from what I heard on the old records, was this rhythm. Straight 8 rock and roll. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And I still hear that rhythm on quite a few of his songs and a lot of rock and roll from the late 50s into the 60s. Maybe even some of the, I don't know, punk music or whatever used that rhythm as well. Now, the difference is that I also heard Chuck playing a different rhythm, and it's really heavily accented, and it's got something. It's very hard to describe exactly what the rhythm is, but for me, I'm hearing muting and accenting. So instead of this, I'm hearing this. So here's the straight up. And here's what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'm hearing that on like Sweet Little Rock and Roller. I'm hearing that on Promised Land. I'm hearing that on a lot of Chuck's great hits. Not all of them, but a lot. Maybe even in Johnny B. Good. I'm hearing that rhythm. And I think I heard this a lot, and I have to give a definite thumbs up to Dave Edmunds, the Welsh guitar player that really had that Chuck Berry. Some people say he played Chuck Berry better than Chuck himself. Muting has a lot to do with the difference in these 2 examples of playing this rock and roll rhythm. In my example, I'm using my left hand to do some muted pulses, like so. So I'm letting the pressure off my fretting hand in these pulses. And if I was just to play this straight ahead, no muting happening there at all. And then there's the right hand. If I'm just playing this straight ahead, my my right hand is literally playing those eighth notes as such. Now, my example, my right hand will be doing this. Kind of a flicking motion, downward flicking motion. Okay, I'm really exaggerating the attack there, but and here it is straight up. All right, so there's a difference there between the left hand and the right hand. That's my ending. I'm doing a classic rock and roll ending that you'd hear from the 50s and 60s, not necessarily Chuck Berry, but doing this 5, 4, and then when I get to the 1, hitting that 13 chord on the end. So it's just chromatic. The 1, all right, and then the chord. So some other details about Chuck Berry's use of the 12-bar progression, which I also used in my example. Sometimes he would go to a quick change, and sometimes not in the same song. So it might have had something to do with the lyrics and the way he was phrasing his verses. So you'll hear that throughout quite a few of his songs. Also, sometimes instead of going 5, 4, 1, resolution to the 5, sometimes he would just hang on that 5 chord. Sometimes he would, and sometimes he wouldn't. Sometimes he would do the standard 5, 4, 1, resolution to the 5. Thanks for checking out the guitar lesson. And remember to look out for some Chuck Berry, especially the stuff that he did on the Chess record label. You'll hear lots of examples of this rock and roll rhythm guitar style. Also his great lead guitar playing and killer guitar intros. Alright, so if you enjoyed this video, please send me a like and click on the subscribe button. Each week I post a new guitar lesson. We'll see you again soon.